The last year or so has been a pretty interesting time for fans of the Persona series. Last year we saw the reveal and Japanese release of Persona 5 Royal, and enhanced re-release of Persona 5, and released earlier this year for the West. Persona 4 Golden was finally ported to PC after many rumors and has been doing just a tiny bit well. But 2019 also saw the announcement of something pretty exciting. A game known as Persona 5 Scramble was teased. When it was teased though, it was not what a lot of us were expecting. A Persona 5 Warriors game was an interesting direction, to put it lightly. Interest for a lot of people did sort of fade with the Royal's up-and-coming release in Japan at the time. A little after that release, Scramble got its official reveal trailer, and it looked pretty awesome actually. Scramble was a direct sequel to the original Persona 5, set 6 months after the events of the game, and sees the thieves traveling across Japan during summer vacation to solve this new string of mysterious cases. However, at the time of its official reveal, there was no word of a localization date at all. No year, no season, nothing. That trailer was 8 months ago. Throughout the months up to its February 20th launch, more about the game was shown off, including 2 new Phantom Thieves. Sophia, an AI found in the first of these mysterious worlds known as jails, that now resides in Ren's phone. The other being Zenkichi Hasegawa, an investigator who ends up joining the thieves as well. But still, throughout all these trailers and all these interviews and showcases, nothing at all from Atlas West, Koei Tecmo, Sega, on a localization at all. At least officially. We all thought it'd be a little after P5R's release here in the West. That hasn't happened yet. We all thought it'd be announced at the New Game Plus Expo, but we got Idol Manager. At this point, I've seen many a bit concerned about the game coming to the West, if it's even going to happen at all. However, while there's been nothing official, and even I've joked about it on Twitter a little bit, I want to talk about the localization today and why I still strongly believe it's going to be coming to the West still. This is here to quell some of the worries that people have had about the game's localization currently, and give some reasons as to why it might be taking so long. So, let's mosey. This won't be the most chronological series of info, but I'll do the best I can with the info I have. First off, about 7 months ago, roughly about a month after the game's initial reveal, this was found. Sega and Atlas had originally trademarked the name Persona 5 Strikers, and then eventually later, there's the logo. Now, this wouldn't be the first time Atlas has changed the name of one of their games for a Western release. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax was originally called, in Japan, Persona 4 The Ultimax Ultra Suplex Hold. Let that sink in for a moment. Atlas changing Persona 5 Scramble to Phantom Strikers to a much cleaner and simpler Persona 5 Strikers for the West makes quite a bit of sense to me. And with this logo not being used anywhere else for the last 7 months or so, it's not terribly surprising that this is probably the localization name. Secondly, Koei Tecmo, the developers behind P5S alongside Atlas and Sega, held their fiscal year report on April 27, 2020 and had some pretty interesting info. When talking about major titles on console, like Fairy Tail and Neo 2, Persona 5 Scramble was highlighted. It mostly talked about sales, but a very interesting tidbit from this was, quote, planning to launch the overseas version. So it's literally right there from Koei Tecmo. The game is getting an overseas release. While the official announcement hasn't happened yet, it's right there from the developers behind it. Also, as of late, sales numbers. Scramble recently launched in South Korea and, according to Atlas, has exceeded sales expectations with sales both in Japan and South Korea. To be fair, we don't really have an exact sales number, but we at least know that it did exceed expectations, unlike games like Persona Q2 or Persona 5 Dancing, which also got localized, albeit Q2 didn't have a dub, and both underperformed at launch. So financially, they know this is going to do well, especially with Royal's overseas release not too long ago, and the game's selling pretty well overall. Also, for anybody saying they wouldn't dub or translate P5S because, well, it's a separate game from the genre from the mainline games with no confidants and stuff, why would they? They're dubbing Persona 5 the animation. I think they're going to dub this. Also, I want to look at this logically for a second here. Why wouldn't Koei Tecmo and Atlas localize a direct sequel to one of Atlas's most successful games both critically and commercially? Also, it's their first Persona game on the Switch too. If they really want to maximize profit and see how well a Persona game could do on the platform, they're obviously going to localize it. Plus, a long translation cycle isn't exactly unheard of in the gaming industry. Xenoblade Chronicles X took roughly 7 months to come to the West. Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE took roughly 6 months to come to the West. Mother 3, MIA. This isn't exactly uncommon in the gaming industry though. It's far more common than you might think actually, especially for Atlas titles. Now let's talk about the other side of the discussion though. If they are localizing it, why is it taking so long to even get confirmed? Like I said, Scramble was roughly revealed 8 months ago at the time of this recording. If they're planning on localizing it this many months later, how come it's taking so long? Obviously, this is a pretty long time without a game going for any sort of localization announcement. So what's going on? Well, here's my theories as to why. My first theory is this. What other Persona game released this year? Scratch that. What other Persona 5 game released this year? Persona 5 Royal. Going off of how Atlas West has marketed their games in the past and even currently, they went in full marketing mode for P5R if that wasn't obvious enough. If Scramble was confirmed at that time and was going to be released in, say, the summer of this year, it'd be kind of odd to have two Persona 5 games being marketed back to back. When one's an enhanced version of a game for $60 and the other is a full-on sequel for $60 on more platforms, the latter option might be more enticing to more people too. From a marketing perspective, it does make more sense. The other theory is, well, the most obvious one. COVID-19 probably hurt this game's translation pretty badly. Keep in mind, this game came out in February in Japan, roughly around the time the virus hit the world probably the worst. Oh, side note by the way, wear a mask. Nonetheless though, COVID affected many things in the world, like businesses, schooling, as well as, you guessed it, dubbing for anime. Dubs for some anime were actually being delayed or put on hold entirely. Funimation back in March announced multiple delays for dubs for many anime series like the dub for My Hero Academia, Fruits Basket, Black Clover, the list goes on. While the VAs and production team on the dub were working from home, it's obvious that the dubs would take a bit longer to come out than normal. If I had to assume, they'd probably want to actually confirm this game with a trailer with the actual English cast. To be fair, it's not exactly confirmed this did affect the game's localization at all, but it makes the most sense to me with a lack of updates or any sort of official confirmation at all. But that's pretty much all I have to say on the matter at this point. It's been 8 months since P5S's announcement, and 5 months since its release in Japan, with no word officially on a localization. I hope all of this information did some good to quell some of the fears some have had about the game coming. I can guarantee it'll happen this year, even if it does take relatively a bit longer than some people had hoped. But hey, we still got other games to keep us preoccupied, especially for Persona fans. But that's about it. With all said, like I said before, I hope this did enough to quell some of the fears people have had about the game releasing worldwide. While it may take a bit, we'll just have to be patient on this. I bet this whole thing isn't easy for Atlas either. That said, thank you all very much for watching, have a great night, stay safe, and signing off. Peace out, soldiers.